Bilal, as a result of which numerous roads, both classified as well as non-classified, were damaged. In view of the extent of the damages, to ensure the safety of road users, government earmarked a sum of 500 million under the project development funds for the urgent repairs. These works will be carried out by the local authorities, the Road Development Authority, and the National Development Unit, in consultation with my ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that 254 roads resurfacing and rehabilitation projects have been identified by the Ministry of Local Government and Disaster Risk Management to the tune of 199.5 million. Out of these, contracts for 29 projects have been awarded by the District Council of Moka, Flak, and Gampo. I'm further informed that the remaining projects are at bidding stage. On its part, the RDA has identified a list of 58 projects, out of which contracts have been awarded for 10 projects to the tune of 2.7 million rupees, and contracts for the remaining works will be allocated in the coming days under its framework agreement. In addition, the RDA has already effected emergency works across the island to restore the road networks, including the looping of branches and felling of trees. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard projects to be implemented by the NDU, 224 road projects and resurfacing projects have been identified, which will be implemented on a priority basis. Currently, surveys and field visits are being carried out by the engineers to work out the scope of works. Works orders for these projects are expected to be issued as from April 2024. With regard to constituency 15, I'm informed that 3 road projects amounting to some 12.2 million will be implemented by the NDU, and 2 others amounting to 14.1 million by the RDA. I'm tabling the information to part A and B of PQ 131. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Will the Honourable Minister table the project that has been earmarked for constituency number 2 in regards to this sum that has been disbursed?
Mr. Speaker, sir, since this is a new request, I'll look into.
Next question. I call Honourable Juman.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part A of the question, the bid for the construction of the new community health center at Rochebois was launched on 7th August 2020. As regard to part B of the question, the contract for the construction of the community health center at Rochebois was awarded on 19 February 2021 to Garnison Construction Limited for a contract amount of Mauritian rupee 36,237,936, excluding VAT. The contractual completion date was 4th July 2022. And after assessment by the HSCC, that is the consultant, 171 days of extension of time was granted to the contractor with a new completion date of 22nd December 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry was informed by the consultant that works on site stopped since October 2022. No significant progress of works was observed by the contractor since. As at end of November 2022, the progress of works was only around 14%. So far, an amount of 2.7 million rupees had been made to the contractor. Due to unsatisfactory progress of works, the contract was terminated on 22nd May 2023. I'm informed that performance security amounting to Mauritian rupees 3,623,793 rupees has been recouped. The consultant assessed the pending works and provided the revised scope of works, bill of quantities, cost estimates, and tender documents to relaunch the bid on 30th September 2023. On 17th October 2023, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development was approached to provide additional funds to complete the project. The project would be completed once additional funds are provided. Mr. Speaker, sir, you will be surprised to note that for financial year 2008-2009, a provision was made only for extension works to the old community health center. The then government did not cater for a new facility, but merely provided a meager sum of 2 million rupees for this project. It was never a question of building a new community health center. I will also react to the comments made in the media by two members of the opposition side of the House from constituency number 3 on this project. I will quote some of the comments. Me demande le ministre qui fait sa projet-là pas incomplété. Parce qu'ils enfants Rochebois, enfants numéro 3. Mr. Speaker, sir, since they have mentioned enfants Rochebois, I will remind the House that all babies born in 2023, including those from Rochebois, are receiving a monthly allowance of 2,000 rupees till they reach the age of 3 years. Every child reaching 18 years of age receive.
Order. Order. Minister, continue.
Every child reaching 18 years of old receive an allowance of 20,000 rupees, including those of Rochebois. We are all aware that all senior citizens, Mr. Speaker, Sir, of the Republic, including Rochebois, earn a basic retirement pension of 13,500. Since yesterday and today, already debited in their account. Every worker of Rochebois, Mr. Speaker, sir, receives a sum of salary, the minimum amount of 18,500. This is what this government has done for the inhabitants of Rochebois. It's not the first time that these members of the opposition are desperately trying to build up discriminatory motives. The following comments were made also in relation to this project. Premier ministre peut rier, peut tirer photo. Jagatpal peut santé de mariage. Sa gouvernement là peut faire gros projet. This was the comments made by the members of the opposition. Mr. Speaker, sir, at least, Mr. Speaker, sir, at least these members Mr. Speaker, sir, at least these members recognize that this government has completed so many what they call gros projets. So at least they recognize. Thank you for recognizing this. But at the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll finish in 2 lines. Mr. Speaker, I prefer by far Santé de Moya than Danse Macarena dans campement at night with relatives, not... I will end up tabling the health activities conducted for the inhabitants of Rochebois.
Mr. Speaker, my question is clear and direct. It's about an area health center. What does it have to do with child allowance, old age pension, etc.? Mr. Speaker, sir, we are 2 years ahead of completion of the project. I want to know from the minister where matters stand to date.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since they have in their media, they have replied, they have asked these questions. I've replied it. Unfortunately, they have asked the question before this PQ. Now, at the same time, I've given the details where this project, I won't repeat it because it is clear. We will be getting the approval of the Ministry of Finance, and everything has been done to relaunch this project. This is what the government has done. There is nothing clearer than this.
Because, from what I understand, the project started in 2020 for an area health center, and 2024 to date, the tender has not been relaunched. Am I right?
Yes, of course. That's what I said. And that's what the procedures has been. Is it not fair and, and transparent to give all the details about the project? Haven't you know that during a COVID time and everything got stuck up, and I've given all the details about this project? Yes, it's been 4 years.
B103. Thank you, Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish to refer to Honourable Member to the reply I made to Parliamentary Question B231 at our sitting of 18th April 2023, where the House was informed that the evaluation process for the procurement of an e-health software has been completed at the level of the United Nations Development Programme. To finalize the selection process, given the complexity and cost of the e-health project, a thorough due diligence exercise was conducted by independent international auditors as mandated by the UNDP procedures for projects having a procurement value of at least USD 1 million. Thereafter, the procurement case was submitted to the Advisory Committee on Procurement, ACP, at UNDP headquarters for final review and recommendation for award. I'm informed that after a step-by-step rigorous and fair selection process by the UNDP and with involvement of observers from the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, the Ministry of Information, Technology, Communication and Innovation, and my ministry, the contract for the implementation of this project was awarded to the joint venture between Trajectory Technologies Private Limited India, Informatics International Mauritius, and Netcom Partners Limited Mauritius on 9th January 2024. The total amount of the contract is USD 4,440,576. That is approximately 200 million Mauritian rupees, and the award notice is publicly available on the UNDP Global Procurement Notice portal. The consortium has already started engagement with my ministry and the implementation phase of phase 1 of the e-health project, comprising a patient administration system, a patient portal, a blood bank system, and analytics will span over a period of 18 months. Upon successful completion of phase 1 of the project, phase 2 will be considered. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to costing, I'm informed that the project is included in a co-financed portfolio between the UNDP and the government of Mauritius, which was entered on 26 January 2022 and amended on 5th October 2023. The contribution under the portfolio of the UNDP is to the tune of USD 3,129,669, approximately Mauritian rupees 145 million rupees, and our contribution is USD 7,728,981. That is approximately 358 million rupees. On the USD 7,728,981 as at date, USD 5,400,652, that is approximately 250 million rupees, have been disbursed to the UNDP in line with the provisions of the project portfolio. Mr. Speaker, sir, the implementation of the e-health project has proven to be a complex endeavor which has been faced with numerous challenges spanning over the past 3 decades. I wish to reassure the House that my ministry has undertaken a holistic and comprehensive approach to mitigate potential risk through the implementation process. The project also comprises procurement of IT equipment, site readiness through the provision of workstations, local area networks and electricity connectivity, the hosting infrastructure for the main data center, and the disaster recovery. Internet access, training of hospital staff on basic IT literacy, and the e-health solution, change management, formulation of a digital health strategy and related blueprint, public engagement, and providing the appropriate institutional, legal, and policy frameworks.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister comment on the allegations made in the media regarding the selection of the e-health project? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. My ministry has taken cognizance of the allegations made in certain media on the selection process for e-health. The evaluation was conducted according to the UNDP procurement process. The UNDP evaluation team conducted a preliminary evaluation, a technical evaluation including a demo of solutions received and a financial evaluation. Thereafter, the UNDP contracted out independent auditors to assess the legal and financial status of bidders as well as a verification of the software. The final review and recommendation were made at the UNDP Advisory Committee on Procurement at headquarters level based on technical and financial evaluation of bids as well as the due diligence exercise. It's regretful that some media have been making these insinuations against a reputable organization such as the UNDP. I wish to reiterate that my ministry has complete trust in the UNDP and its process, and we are pursuing the implementation of this long-awaited project.
Premier.
P104.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the City Council of Port Louis that the Council has been advised by the Land Drainage Authority to remove all building structures and slabs on Bitatonier and Risodipus stream because of frequent flooding in this area. The Municipal Council of Port Louis has already removed part of the slab on Risodipus where the hawkers were operating. The part from Brown Sequardi Street and Social Street could not be removed as 14 out of 21 hawkers operating thereat and who had all lost their case had lodged an appeal at the level of the Supreme Court. In that context, a public relation exercise was carried out by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis with the hawkers to vacate the site and to move to urban terminal, where they have been offered a stall to operate. With regard to the construction of building by Pick and Eat Limited, that is Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Municipal City Council of Port Louis has informed that construction of the building for a retail outlet was granted by an Act of Parliament, namely the Bitatonier Authorized Construction Act 50 of 1992, while the parking areas on Puss Stream for Rogers Limited and Medco Limited were granted under the Puss Stream Authorized Construction Act 32 of 1992. As the authorization for construction was granted through an Act of Parliament by the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, the latter was on the 4th of April 2023 requested to initiate appropriate action to repeal the above-mentioned Act. The Ministry of Housing and Land had on the 14th of July 2023 requested Attorney General Office to advise on the way forward to repeal the two acts and the reference. In its reply on the 25th of July 2023, the Attorney General Office had advised the Ministry of Housing and Land that a mise en demeure should first be served upon the companies in order for them to be apprised of the intention to have the building, any structures constructed over the Bitatonier and Riceau-du-Poussy stream removed, and a delay be given for them to vacate the premises concerned. Subsequently, the two acts will be repealed. In the meantime, several meetings and site visits have been held by my ministry with Pick and Eat Limited, Medco Limited, and Rogers Limited, Land Drainage Authority, and Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning to inform them of the necessity to freeze those areas of any structures and buildings to allow a free flow of water. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry has, on the 20th of February 2024, requested the Attorney General Office to prepare the mise en demeure to be served on the operators. I wish to inform the House that a meeting was held at the level of my ministry on the 28th of March 2024 with representative of the Attorney General Office, Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, the Planning Division, Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development, Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development, Land Drainage Authority, and the Municipal Council of Port Louis to look into the demolition of the building, slabs, and structures on the stream. The representative of the Attorney General Office has informed that the mise en demeure has already been finalized and would be submitted to my ministry shortly.
Monsieur le Président, 11 ans après les inondations meurtrières, ayant coûté la vie à 11 personnes à Port-Louis, et tout récemment, on a vu les images du cyclone Bilal, l'inondation du cyclone Bilal, il est évident que les choses ne bougent pas. Et moi, ma question aujourd'hui au ministre, c'est l'année dernière, en 2023, la municipalité de Port-Louis, un appel d'offres pour la démolition du bâtiment. La municipalité de Port-Louis avait déjà pris cette décision. Moi, ce que j'aurais aimé savoir, où en sont les choses par rapport à l'appel d'offres pour démolir non seulement le bâtiment du Pick and Eat KFC, mais aussi l'aire de stationnement de la compagnie de Rodrigues.
Mr. Speaker, I've just given details. I've explained in detail why it's taking the time. This is not, doesn't depend on the municipal council. This was an act of parliament. It was not a council decision. It was an act of parliament. We went to the Attorney General Office. They told us that we have to go step by step. That's what we have done. We are going step by step. I've explained all this in detail. I get the impression the member doesn't understand, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it has been 10 years. 10 years since this deadly flooding has occurred.
I can understand all this, but you should put a specific question if you want clarification. If you're going to insist in all your questions, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'll have the same answer. I'm helping you. I'm helping you to put a good question. Please, do your work.
Mr. Speaker, I think you are not understanding the situation.
No comment upon me. I understand too much, and I understand you. I understand your question very well. You are misleading the House. Of course you are misleading. You have to put a specific question. Questions, supplementary questions, should not contain comments.
It's not comments.
It should contain, the content of a question should contain question itself, not comments, not debate. So put your question. I'm giving you a last chance, if you have one.
My question to the Honourable Minister is that after 10 years of this deadly flooding, is the Municipal Council of Port Louis backpedaling on the project of demolishing these two buildings?
He doesn't understand anything. I've explained that this was done by act of parliament, and the municipal council can act on it.
Please.
The municipal council can't act on it.
do that.
They have to get to repeal
We are not in a stable, we are in a parliament.
You don't. You have been there opposition.
Order! Honorable Nyang, order, you are going out of your way. Order! What is this? You are not in a stable, you are in parliament. You put a question, the minister has to reply. You finished, minister? Next question.
B105.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry is...
Order! Order! Order in this house! Both! Honorable Nyang, this is the last warning I'm giving you. I am giving you the warning. Last warning. Continue.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry is providing full support to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly in the fight against dengue. At the outset, in the context of enhanced preparedness for vector-borne diseases, my ministry has, in July 2023, deployed, among others, several thermal foggers, sprayer cans, together with insecticides and larvicides. Since the outbreak of dengue fever in Rodrigues on 19th January 2024, my ministry has been closely monitoring the situation prevailing in Rodrigues on 19th has been closely monitoring the situation prevailing on the island. In this context, several coordination meetings between the public health team of Rodrigues and officers of my ministry, which included the Director General Health Services, Director Health Services, Communicable Disease Control Unit, that is a CDCU, Public Health and Food Safety Inspectorate, and Vector Biology and Control Division have been held on a regular basis. Moreover, since the beginning of the outbreak, the CDCU is in communication daily with public health team in Rodrigues. Upon request from the Commission for Health of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly, public health and food safety inspectors were deployed immediately to Rodrigues to assist the existing team in vector control activities. Moreover, a high-level team visited Rodrigues from 5th to 7th March 2024. The team, led by the Director Health Services, responsible for public health, comprised the acting Regional Public Health Superintendent, the Director Public Health and Food Safety, a representative from the Vector Biology and Control Division, and 2 WHO consultants, currently in Mauritius having wide expertise in entomology and vector surveillance. The team has carried out an assessment of the dengue fever situation thereat, as well as response strategies, including the identification of entomological and environmental risk factors associated with the outbreak. The team has recommended control measures and provided appropriate training in vector control activities, surveillance, and reporting. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the mission, a series of site visits and consultations were held with a local team of officers in Rodrigues and relevant stakeholders with a view to contain the proliferation of mosquitoes and larvae. It was subsequently decided to deploy 2 medical health officers to Rodrigues. One MHO has already been posted in Rodrigues, while another will be joining shortly. We have also obtained the support of the Indian Ocean Commission, IOC, for technical assistance in the context of the current dengue outbreak. A team comprising an entomologist, a logistician, and an expert in risk communication would be deputed from Réunion Island to strengthen the strategy for vector control and surveillance in place. Mr. Speaker, so I'm informed that since the notification of the first case of dengue fever in Rodrigues on 19th January, to date, 1,679 cases of dengue fever were detected. There are currently 158 active cases. I'm also informed that no case of death directly related to the dengue fever has been recorded by the health services in Rodrigues for the current outbreak and during the last 2 years?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Owing to the assessment that the experts from your ministry has made in Rodrigues concerning the dengue fever outbreak, has we been able to explain why there's such amount of death during this season compared to when there were COVID-19 pandemic season?
Mr. Speaker, can I please repeat the last part of the question? The amount of?
Owing to the assessment that your expert teams has made in Rodrigues, have you been able to determine to why there is such amount of death during the dengue fever outbreak compared to what had happened during the COVID-19 pandemic?
I'm sorry, excuse me, I don't have this information. Likely I will come up probably for another question, then I may have this information. I can't at this point of time have this comparison, why the number of deaths at present compared to that of COVID-19. Probably that I will require to get information from the ministry.
B106.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that my ministry already has in place price mechanisms to control the maximum price and maximum markup on 38 categories of commodities for Mauritius. 36 essential products are controlled by a maximum price regime for Rodrigues. Out of the 38 commodities, 12 essential commodities such as gas oil, mogas, LPG, cement, bread, flour, ration rice, onions, and potatoes are regulated under the maximum price regime to ensure affordability and accessibility for every Mauritian. The remaining 26 essential commodities are under the maximum markup regime. This regime strictly caps the markup range between 15% to 45%, encompassing items such as milk powder, breakfast cereals, canned fish, edible oil, basmati rice, imported fresh fruits, infant milk powder, and baby diapers, among others. My ministry has a dedicated team to carry out market analysis and continuous monitoring, and proposals are made for intervention and control as and when the need arises. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards to Part B, I wish to highlight a significant milestone achieved by my ministry in the previous year. A comprehensive overhaul of our price control framework for around 7,500 pharmaceutical products. In May 2023, this government introduced a forward-thinking approach by implementing a regressive maximum markup mechanism. This significant change enshrined in the Consumer Protection Pharmaceutical Product Maximum Markup Regulations marks a departure from uniform markups towards a more equitable system where the markup on medicine is inversely proportional to their import costs. The higher the cost at import, the lower the markup. This means that essential medicines, particularly those with higher import costs, are now more accessible due to lower markups. Mr. Speaker, sir, government is currently providing significant financial support to ensure the affordability of staple food items for the public as follows. A subsidy on LPG at an amount of 324.97 cents per cylinder of 12 kgs, which costs government 2.12 billion rupees per year. while consumers buy same at 240 rupees. A subsidy on long grain white rice of 8.30 rupee for every half kilogram, which translates into an annual expenditure of 349 million rupees. This subsidy amounts for 61% of the price for a half kilogram bag of rice, and the retail price is 5.40 rupees per half kilogram. A subsidy on fortified flour distributed by the STC of 16.08 rupees per kilogram, amounting to an annual total of 595 million rupees. The retail price paid by consumers is 4.85 rupees per half kilogram. And in an effort to keep the cost of staple bread affordable, Scheduled bread receive a subsidy of 44 cents per 100 grams, enabling us to maintain its retail price at 2.60 rupees. As regards pharmaceutical products, government already provides for free health care, which includes provision of pharmaceutical products to all citizens. Thank you.
J'ai remarqué que la ministre a parlé d'un mécanisme mis en place au sein de son ministère pour le contrôle des prix. Et la ministre parle aussi de infant milk powder. Madame la ministre, prenons 3 commodités de base utilisées par beaucoup de Mauriciens actuellement. Le lait en général ou le lait pour les bébés, les couches et le fromage. Ces 3 produits, malgré vos mécanismes en place, ces 3 produits ont augmenté de plus de 42% en 2 mois. 42%. Est-ce que la ministre est disposée, je dis bien, est-ce que la ministre est disposée à intervenir auprès de son collègue, le ministre des Finances, pour trouver une solution pour les ménagères mauriciens dans ces augmentations de prix, car la dépréciation de la roupie, madame, tue les Mauriciens?
Let the minister reply.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. For instance, out of the 26 essential commodities which are under the price control, it has been observed that 80% had a decreasing and stable trend, while the increase is due to external factors such as exchange rates and freight costs, which are beyond control. As I said earlier, there is a dedicated team at the level of my ministry to carry out continuous market analysis and monitoring, and appropriate recommendations are made for intervention and control as and when required. Mr. Speaker, sir, the regressive maximum markup mechanism had an immediate effective impact on the overall classes of classified medicine, with a general fall of 4.6 in the retail price. However, there are other external factors, even for milk. There are other external factors such as the foreign currency appreciation, the international prices of milk, the freight costs, which are beyond control and impact negatively on the retail prices.
À l'item B de ma question, Madame la Ministre, on parle des médecines vendues en clinique, en pharmacie privée. Un exemple, Madame la Ministre, le Galvusmed, médicament pour les diabétiques. Ce médicament, Madame la Ministre, a augmenté de 325 roupies en 4 mois. Pour la boîte de 15. Je voudrais savoir de la ministre, est-ce que, comme ministre des protections de consommateurs, est-ce que la ministre ne voit pas l'urgence d'intervenir sur ce marché des médicaments pour contrôler les prix des médicaments qui tuent, à cause de la dépréciation de la roupie, le pouvoir d'achat des Mauriciens tous les jours?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the regressive markup, maximum markup, we have it on 8 classes of pharmaceutical products, namely anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, like you said, the cardiovascular, also inhalers, biologicals, vaccine, and anti-acid. And like it is, we have reduced the profit that, used to be made. But unfortunately, I told you, there are things that are beyond our control. Like, definitely.
Next question.
B107.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I will reply to PQ B107. Insofar my ministry is concerned, a total amount of 60 million rupees was earmarked under the National Resilience Fund for the upgrading of the Anjalay Stadium, with 10 million in this financial year and 50 million rupees in the next financial year. The upgrading of the Anjalay Stadium will be carried out in phases. Phase 1 includes civil works, mainly waterproofing works, and the 2 other phases comprise electrical and mechanical works. The Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development has carried out and completed its survey for the civil works. The scope of work is being finalized. Once my ministry will proceed with a bidding, once available, my ministry will proceed with a bidding exercise to recruit a service provider for the civil works. Mr. Speaker, sir, once the upgrading works are completed, the facility will be reopened to the public and the proposal to host concerts and events at the stadium will be considered. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président, dans un communiqué de presse de l'Union des artistes daté du 20 mars 2024, les artistes ont déploré que la visite du stade Anjalay, dans le cadre de ce présent projet de 80 millions de roupies, finalement semble ne pas concerner le stade principal, mais les terrains avoisinants qui sont clairement inadaptés à la tenue des concerts. Puis-je demander au ministre, alors je pensais l'adresser au ministre des Arts, si toutefois il a un éclaircissement au sujet des terrains qui vont être améliorés et adaptés pour la tenue des concerts au stade Anjalay.
Monsieur le Président, comme je viens de le dire dans ma réponse, c'est le stade complètement et avec les terrains avoisinants qui, une fois les travaux complétés, seront mis à la disposition pour des événements sportifs, des événements culturels et artistiques.
Puis-je demander au ministre un timeline, un calendrier, même approximatif, sur l'exécution de ces travaux et le moment auquel vraiment nos artistes pourront commencer à se produire au stade Anjalay.
Monsieur le Président, avec tout le respect que je dois à l'honorable membre, je ne suis pas dans l'approximatif, je suis scientifique dans mon approche et par rapport à ce que les officiers nous proposent. Et comme je l'ai dit dans ma réponse, les travaux seront faits sur 2 phases. Et pour cette année financière, donc nous avons un budget de 10 millions. Prochaine année financière, c'est-à-dire 2024-2025, nous aurons un budget de 50 millions. Donc, nous allons procéder par phase. Donc, première phase, comme je l'ai expliqué, comme le scope of work sera finalisé, on va procéder avec un tendering exercise et à partir de là, les travaux vont se faire. Donc, il faudra attendre.
MP Bhagwan.
B108. Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne la partie A de la question, je suis informé par la Gambling Regulatory Authority que pour la prochaine saison de course 2024, l'organisateur des courses de chevaux, People's Stuff PLC, n'a pas encore communiqué le montant des enjeux à payer pour la saison de course 2024. PTP attend probablement que le calendrier des courses pour la saison 2024 soit publié par la House Racing Division avant de communiquer le montant des enjeux. Il convient de noter que le paiement des enjeux relève de la seule responsabilité de l'organisateur des courses de chevaux et que ni la GRA Act ni les règles de course de la division des courses de chevaux n'imposent d'obligation à la GRA ou à la Horse Race Division en ce qui concerne la réglementation des enjeux. Je dois également ajouter qu'en vertu de l'article 61 des règles des courses, les conditions de chaque réunion de course, y compris le montant des enjeux à payer par l'organisateur des courses de chevaux pour une course donnée, doivent être publiées au moins 5 jours avant le jour de la réunion de course. Et cela afin que les entraîneurs soient informés à l'avance du montant des enjeux offerts et décident de désigner et d'aligner un cheval dans une course en tenant compte du montant des enjeux offerts pour la course en question. En outre, l'article 30 du Gambling Regulatory Act 2007 prévoit que l'organisateur de courses de chevaux doit être une société anonyme et que conformément à la loi et à ses conditions de licence, il doit être solvable et financièrement sain pendant toute la saison des courses et en fin de compte, la décision concernant le paiement du montant des enjeux doit être une décision commerciale saine pour l'organisateur de courses de chevaux. Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne la partie B de la question, je suis informé par la GRA que le nombre d'entraîneurs approuvés et autorisés à exploiter une écurie par le Horse Racing Committee s'élève à 16 à ce jour pour la prochaine saison de course 2024. En ce qui concerne la partie C de la question, la GRA a procédé à des exercices de diligence raisonnables avant l'octroi de licences ou l'enregistrement des parties prenantes impliquées dans l'industrie des courses de chevaux, y compris les propriétaires, comme le prévoient les articles 15C1H et 93B de la GRA Act. Merci.
Est-ce qu'on peut savoir du ministre, parce que depuis que le People Stuff a eu son permis pour organiser les courses, parce que les courses fait partie du patrimoine de l'activité Sports Activities. Est-ce que le ministre peut nous dire est-ce qu'il est au courant, est-ce qu'il a discuté avec la DRA, parce que nous assistons à une mort lente de l'organisation des courses à Maurice, non seulement l'état du Champ de Mars, mais l'organisation des courses elle-même par la People Staff.
Monsieur le Président, en ce qui concerne cette question, je pense que l'honorable membre pourrait venir avec une question dessus et je me ferai un devoir d'aller demander des précisions à la GRA.
Est-ce qu'on peut savoir du ministre, est-ce que lui, en tant que ministre, et la GRA tombe sous son responsabilité, est-ce qu'il ne pense pas qu'il est temps de demander à la GRA de faire une enquête sur la solvabilité du People Stuff? C'est connu au niveau de tout le monde, ceux qui fréquentent le Champ de Mars, pas moi, mais moi je suis au courant, je dis. Nous assistons à une mort lente, comme je l'ai dit, de l'organisation. Est-ce qu'il compte prendre la question avec la GRA pour commanditer une étude sur la solvabilité du People Stuff?
Je tiens à préciser, comme j'ai répondu auparavant, l'article 30 du Gambling Regulatory Act 2007 prévoit que l'organisateur de courses de chevaux doit être une société anonyme et que cette société doit être solvable et financièrement sain pendant toute la saison des courses. Et je prendrai au mot l'honorable membre et je demanderai des précisions à la GRA. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. B109, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix the LPG-fired human incinerator at Highlands came into operation on the 20th of December 2021. I'm also informed that there is no crematorium ground at Highlands where a traditional cremation on wooden pyre could be carried out. Since the necessary clearance from the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Environment have not been obtained. I wish to inform the House that there are 15 other incinerators across the island, along with that of Highlands, which have been funded under the Indian line of credit. The contract was awarded to Kanta Electrical India Limited on the 26th of July 2019. No provision for maintenance contract was made in the bidding document then. As regards to part B of the question, I'm informed that 3 incinerations were carried out during the period January 2023 to August 2023, and the incinerator is not operational as from that date, as several faulty parts thereof need to be replaced and no maintenance agreement is available despite several bidding exercises conducted by the Council. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry has therefore, with the technical assistance of the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development, prepared a set of bidding documents for procurement of repairs and maintenance of the 16 incinerators, including the one at Highlands. The bids have been launched on the 27th of March 2024, and the closing date for submission of the bids has been scheduled for 25th of April 2024. It is expected that the contract, if we get get promoter, the contract would be awarded by mid-June this year.
Mr. Speaker, may I ask the Vice Prime Minister whether he's aware that there was a promise that there was a traditional wooden pyre that was being used at Saint-Carpent, and it was moved to Highlands in the same place where the gas incinerator is, and the inhabitants were told that they will be able to use either the gas incinerator or the traditional wooden pyre. May I get from the Honourable Vice Prime Minister why, as at date, this has not been the case, that is the use of this traditional wooden pyre?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that we have traditional pyres for constituency number 15 at Tromamel and Phoenix. We have 2 places where we can have it done.
Mr. Speaker, may I ask a supplementary question? May I ask the Vice Prime Minister, is he aware that the inhabitants of Saint-Carpent, Belter, and Highlands, they used for so many years, they used to go at Saint-Carpent for those traditional wooden pyre to be used. And now it is causing serious inconvenience for them to go to Trois-Mamelles or Alé-Briand or other places to undergo this traditional way of, burying or cremating their dead ones. Are you aware of that?
No, we appreciate the difficulty, sir. That's why we were trying to solve the problem by having the LPG-fired human incinerator. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, there have been some problem with the contractor, and now we have launched a bidding, and we hope to get somebody who can repair the incinerators. As I mentioned earlier, I know for constituency number 15, there are 2 traditional pyres available at Trois-Mamelles and Phoenix.
Thank you, Uchid.
B110. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I shall reply to PQB110, which has been addressed to the Honourable Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development as it relates to my ministry. Sir, I am informed that 8,915 road accidents occurred last year, that is year 2023. Out of the 8,915 accidents, 666 caused material damages only, 2,063 caused slight injuries only, 356 caused serious injuries, and 130 were fatal accidents. For the year 2024, from 1st January 2024 to 29th March 2024, there were 1,402 road accidents, out of which 164 caused material damages only, 268 caused slight injuries only, 40 caused serious injuries, and 30 were fatal accidents. For the corresponding period in 2023, that is from 1st January 2023 to 29 March 2023, there were 25 fatal road accidents causing the death of 25 people. A comparative analysis of the figures of the two corresponding periods show that there has been a 20% increase in the number of fatal accidents. Out of the 32 persons killed from the 1st January 2024 to 29th March 2024, 6 were pedestrians, 4 were drivers, 14 were riders, 5 were passengers, 2 were cyclists, and 1 was a pillion rider. The pedestrians and two-wheelers accounted for 72% of the total persons killed for period Jan 2024 to March 2024. Among the victims, 1 was below 15 years, 4 were between the age of 16 to 25, 17 were between the age of 26 to 50, 4 were between the age of 51 to 59, and 6 were senior citizens. 13 out of the 30 fatal road accidents which were reported to have occurred between 18 hours to 6 hours, while the remaining 70 were reported to have occurred between 6 hours to 18 hours. Mr. Speaker, sir, the causes of accidents are usually determined by the police in their investigations. I am advised that the causes of road accidents are numerous. A road crash does not occur due to a single contributory factor. These include, but are not limited to, the following: loss of control of vehicle by driver, carelessness, recklessness of driver, inattentive driver, attitude of drivers, motorcyclists, reckless overtaking, exceeding speed limits, aggressive driving, driving under the influence of alcohol, drugs, fatigue, slippery roads, pedestrian wearing dark clothing, animal or object on carriageway, state of the vehicle, defective traffic signals, non-compliance to traffic signals and road markings, dark spots, poor street lighting, lack of respect of law for laws and the police, unskilled driving. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the major reasons causing road accidents is also the carefree attitude of drivers and motorcyclists. To control the increase in accidents, a behavioral change is required. In view thereof, my ministry has, in collaboration with the Minister of Education, Tertiary Education, Science and Technology, developed a curriculum on road safety education, including the teacher's guide to be imparted to students of grade 1 to 6. The continuum of road safety education would be extended to pre-primary schools, including private institutions, all primary schools, including private institutions, secondary schools, including private institutions, and tertiary education centers. Moreover, my ministry, in collaboration with the MITD, is in the process of setting up a driver's education and testing center at Forestside to provide training refresher course to driving instructors and potential drivers in accordance to an approved national curriculum. The TMRSU has been working with key stakeholders for the implementation of road safety measures and installation of road safety furniture in line with a safe system approach that would be more forgiving to human errors in case of crashes. Furthermore, in the light of the considerable increase in drug driving offense being detected and the impact of drugs on the cognitive driving behavior of the drivers and dangers such drivers represent on the roads, my ministry would revisit the sentencing for drug driving and the Road Traffic Act would be amended accordingly. Concurrently, my ministry is revisiting the driver licensing scheme to introduce the probationary driving license, which would put a set of restrictions on new drivers who have recently passed their tests for an initial period of time. In parallel to all infrastructural and legislative measures, my ministry has been conducting intensive and aggressive sensitization campaigns on billboards, television, radio, on social media to raise awareness among roads users, especially most vulnerable ones. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry is also reviewing the National Road Safety Strategy 2016 to 2025 with a view to actualizing the recommended actions, infrastructural, legislative, and sensitization contained therein to be in phase with a changing environment and road infrastructures in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Is the Minister aware from January this year till today, we have already 35 deaths on our roads? As you stated, compared to last year, 25.
Yes, I did mention.
Yeah, 20% being increased. Does the Honourable Minister provide a timeline for the implementation of the proposed measures that you just mentioned and any expected targets to reduce these road accidents?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. The list is long. In fact, there are measures which have already been taken. There are measures which are in the pipeline. There are engineering measures. There are legislative measures also. I can, if the Honourable Minister wishes, and with your leave, Mr. Speaker, sir, go through the list of all these measures. Let us take what are the measures that have already been taken. Introduction of stricter penalties, implementation of a 3-stage audit process with the collaboration of the RDA, introduction of 40 km/h zones along streets and 40 km/h along collector-distributor roads, what we call the C roads around the island, installation of belly shaft flashing lights at different zebra pedestrian crossing sites across the island to raise the awareness of drivers that they need to be cautious at such locations, a web-based road crash data management system has been set up by my ministry whereby data on accidents are plugged in the system and reports are generated which provide information on the characteristics of accidents such as dark spot areas, time and location of the accidents, as well as the type of vehicles and persons involved, age of the driver, severity of the accidents, amongst others. These data enable my ministry to take appropriate remedial measures, and policies are accordingly formulated to enhance road safety and reduce the number of fatalities on our roads. Road safety inspections are being carried out by my ministry, along with hazardous road across the island to improve the safety performance of road. Traffic calming and road safety measures in terms of raised tables and speed cameras, and road safety measures in terms of crash barriers, pedestrian crossings, cut size, traffic lights, handrails, and guardrails have been implemented by my ministry in various locations around the island to reduce the severity of the injured persons and deaths during road crashes. Hard shoulders are also being rehabilitated along motorway across the road. The Road Traffic Act has been amended to make it more stringent and to increase the fines for 204 offences under the fixed penalty system. The Road Traffic Act has equally been amended to increase the fines for speeding offences. The legislation has been amended to prevent driving under the influence of alcohol. Implementation of the drug driving legislation, awareness and sensitization campaigns in relation to road safety and are ongoing at the level of my ministry. And in addition, additional measures are being envisaged, Mr. Speaker, sir. I just referred to the review of the driver licensing scheme to include the probationary driving license, which would introduce a set of restrictions for a specified period of time for new and young drivers. The probationary driver's license is a proven measure to address the issue of novice drivers being overrepresented in road crashes. Enactment of new legislation regarding the mandatory use of child restraints in passenger cars to maximize the safety of passengers less than 10 years old. Introduction of road traffic technical prescription for protective helmet regulations 2022 to ensure that all protective helmets intended to protect the wearer's head against impact during the road crash, which would be imported and sold in compliance with the UN regulations number 22 standards. The introduction of the road traffic pedestrian traffic regulation to enhance the safety of pedestrians on our roads. Our statistics show that pedestrians are the most vulnerable on roads. Amendments to the Road Traffic Act to increase the number of cumulative road traffic offences from 11 to 32. I can go on, Mr. Speaker, sir, but
Next question, Honourable Bulel is absent, so
B112.
The Municipal Council of QPIP that on the 26th of March 2024, a complaint was received at the Council through an email from one Mrs. A regarding issues of drain at Chemin-la-Rivière and Damour at Montselman-Ramlagan Forest Side. A meeting here, I would also like to inform the House that the DPM and the PPS Dengue are closely following that complaint of flooding at Montselman-Ramlagan. A meeting was already held regarding that issue with the complainant in the presence of Honorable Dengue, PPS, and Mr. Mantura, General Manager of the CWA, National Development Unit and Municipal Council of Port Louis on the 20th of March 2024 to take stock of the situation, and this was followed by a site visit. I'm further informed by the Municipal Council of Cupic that the National Development Unit, Land Drainage Authority, and the Municipal Council of Port Louis are working on a drain network proposed to resolve the flooding problem thereat. I wish to add that cleaning of open drain, weeding, herbiciding, lopping, and mowing are carried out by the scavenging contractor appointed by the Municipal Council of Cupic, namely Atix Limited, on the 1st of March 2024. On the 28th of March 2024, Atix has again started cleaning the open drain, which will end on the 4th of April 2024. Thereafter, immediately Atix will start cleaning the cross drain, and same will be completed by the 11th of April 2024. In parallel, the service provider has embarked on the cleaning of rivulets and bare land as from Monday, the 1st of April 2024, in accordance with the scope of service in the contract document for scavenging services.
I'm given to understand that the first complaint was in 2021, in August, not in 2024. Is the Vice Prime Minister aware that the region is being flooded with muddy water quite often, and the inhabitants are incurring losses such as furniture, home appliances, wooden parquet, food items? Can he reassure the House that the needful will be done urgently?
Mr. Speaker, sir, just mentioned that I was informed by the Council that they got a complaint on the 26th of March 2024. That's what I was informed by the Council. Now, as far as works that need to be done, and I've just mentioned that we had a meeting, the Municipal Council, with the NDU, with the Land Drainage Authority, everybody trying to work on the drain network, not just a one or two drains, there's a whole network there to prevent this recurring again in the future.
Next question.
B113.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the National Social Living Development Limited, NSLD, that part of the site opposite the Pépinière d'Arsenal and earmarked for the construction of residential units was indeed flooded during the passage of Cyclone Bilal due to, firstly, on-site surface runoff, secondly, off-site surface runoff from adjacent areas, and thirdly, consequential backflow of water due to insufficient capacity of the culvert located at A4 Road to evacuate the volume of water. I'm further informed that the accumulated water had, within 24 hours, either percolated or dissipated into the existing culvert on Road A4. As regards the measures being taken to reduce the risk of inundation on this site, I wish to refer the Honourable Member to my reply to PQB/111551 on 21st November 2023, whereby I enumerated the measures that would be implemented by the NSLD as prescribed by the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, as well as by the Land Drainage Authority. These measures include both on-site and off-site works as follows. On-site works include upgrading of the man-made canal on the site, provision of a ridge to protect the site from canal and upstream flows, thirdly, fitting of all internal roads with appropriate reinforced concrete drains, and finally, provision of 4 attenuation basins. Following a detailed design report prepared by the Drains Infrastructure Construction Limited, DICL, and approved by the LDA, off-site works will now include A, the construction of a new culvert along Malakoff Road with substantial increased hydraulic capacity to ensure no black backflow of water. B, construction of a new culvert along A4 Road with substantial hydraulic capacity and upgrading of watercourse upstream and downstream of the culvert. And C, construction of cut-off drains along the side boundaries to channel any incoming off-site water to a safe discharge. I understand this refers to an upgraded natural drainage path and Rivière Citron. Mr. Speaker, sir, as recommended by the LDA, all these measures, I'm informed, will be implemented prior to the handing over of the residential units to the eventual beneficiaries.
Can I ask the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister whether in the course of management meetings that he chairs with the NSDC and the NSLD, I'm sure he does because of the magnitude of the project, 25 billion rupees for 8,000 units, he has had the opportunity to take cognizance or question whether severe flooding in question has to do with the fact that on-site works to protect the construction activities as recommended by the Land Drainage Authority were not implemented, simply because if that was implemented, design and build contract to the tune of 2.7 million rupees per unit would not have been possible because the cost would have been much more.
I'm not sure I understand the question of the honourable gentleman. All I can say is that, yes, indeed, there are weekly meetings where the NSLD reports progress on all its sites. The NSLD's attention has been drawn to lessons, to the fact that we need to draw lessons from the passage of Belal as regards flooding and risks of flooding. Maybe you might want to listen to my answer first. Risks of flooding on all of our 37 sites, including Arsenal. The intention of government is to ensure that no residential complex be delivered, be handed over to eventual buyers unless and until we have done all that is within our knowledge, as advised by the technical authorities, to guard against risk of flooding. As the honourable gentleman may be aware, in the past we have had issues when, unfortunately, the NHDC had not, in years gone by, a long time ago, had not precisely done what needed to be done to guard against climate change. Now we know that climate change is upon us. The NSLD has strict instructions to follow the technical advice provided by the relevant authorities. Of course, we cannot question that advice. We can only ensure the timely implementation of the advice.
I raise my hand so that I don't lose my second question. Can I ask the Honourable Minister whether, in the course of management meeting, he has had the chance to question whether variations or extra cost has been incurred by the NSLD because of the flooding that has occurred during the passage of Cyclone Belal, which may have caused damages to ongoing construction works.
No, I do not have such information at hand. And if the honourable gentleman would wish to communicate the information that he has, and he's obviously well informed, I shall be happy to look into it.
The table is advised that PQB 115, B119, B130, B135, B137, B140, B153, B154, B129, B141 have been withdrawn. The next question would be Honorable Abbas Mahmoud.
B114.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed in the context of digital transformation of the public service, my ministry has launched and implemented the EHR project, which is an unprecedented transformative initiative and an award-winning project at the national level and African continent. The EHR system consists of two main elements, namely the leave management system and the core HR module, which leverages technology to streamline and digitalize various HR processes within the public service. This move towards digitalization is aimed at significantly enhancing the overall efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, and responsiveness of the public service. Mr. Speaker, sir, the EHR system has been implemented in phases. The initial phase of the leave management system was successfully implemented on a pilot basis at my ministry and the Ministry of Information, Technology, Communication and Innovation, and the system is fully operational since July 2021. The second phase of the leave management system started in March 2022 and ended in May 2022. In the second phase, 20 additional organizations were covered. Phase 3 of the LMS started in June 2022 and was completed in December 2022, covering the remaining organization. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, as at March 2024, the leave management system is live in all ministries, departments, and other government institutions representing 79 organizations and covering more than 47,000 employees, which equates to approximately 83% of the public officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard to Part C of the question, the total cost of the EHR project for the 3 phases amount to approximately 22 million rupees. With regard to Part D of the question, the objectives that were set were met beyond expectation and has contributed significantly to improve and streamline integrate HR processes, which has alleviated substantially the work of HR cadre. Users of the system are now able to streamlinely engage with respective ministries and departments with a user-friendly portal for a number of HR functions, which leave management, updating of personal data, accessing payroll, and the management of their leaves. As a result of this streamlining of processes, my ministry has been able to optimize on HR resource and to cater for more strategic HR functions, such as strategic planning, training, need analysis, succession planning, and rotation policy, instead of dealing with daily operational HR matter. Furthermore, the project has significantly contributed to the reduction of our carbon footprint, as the paper-intensive HR processes have now been replaced by digitally enabled ones. Mr. Speaker, sir, as far as Part E of the question is concerned, the EHR system has already been integrated with the electronic attendance system. The integration of the leave management system with electronic attendance systems streamline the leave management processes by allowing for seamless communication between the two systems and ensuring real-time leave updates on the electronic attendance system. The EHR project consists of a strategy asset. The whole HR database is kept centrally and in a secure environment. This asset is being made available to other systems which are being implemented in other departments of the government. The EHR system will also interface with pension, passage benefit, and call load system, and an online case brief system, which are being developed by the Account General's Office and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, respectively. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry intends to interface the EHR with other systems with a view to promoting a whole-of-government approach towards public service delivery, which places the citizen at the center of the public service. In this context, my ministry is actively engaged with other stakeholders, such as Mutual Aid Civil Service Association Limited, with regard to facilitating public officers in their loan application with the institutions.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House, being given that this is a new project and we are made to understand that it concerns 83% of the public service. So has there been any complaint or the Minister is satisfied with the new system being implemented?
Affirming positively to such a laudable initiative to to an unprecedented transformative initiative, which is an award-winning project at national level and even African continent. But we have to sustain such initiative for workmen's clause by we are putting Wi-Fi spots on the workplace for better connectivity and so that they can use the EHR system. Thank you.
Next question, MP Bodal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B116.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix that one LPG-fired incinerator has been installed at La Marie in constituency number 16, and same is operational since 20th of December 2021. I'm further informed that the incinerator is not being put to use as from August 2023, since several faulty parts thereof need to be replaced and no maintenance contract is available, despite bidding exercise carried out by the Council on the 17th of October 2023 and 30th of January 2024. I wish to inform the House that there are 15 other such incinerators across the island, along with that at La Marie, which have been funded under the Indian line of credit. The contract was awarded to Canal Electrical India Limited. No provision for maintenance contract was made in the bidding document initially. Mr. Speaker, sir, as already indicated in my reply to Parliamentary question B109, bid has been launched to repair and maintenance of the 16 incinerators on the 20th of March 2024, and the closing date for submission of the bid has been scheduled for 25th of April 2024. It is expected that the contract will be awarded by mid-June this year.
I thank the Honourable Vice Prime Minister for his answer. May I ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister whether there was a commissioning by the Indian company once the installations had been done in La Marie and in other parts of Mauritius?
Yes,
whether there was a team from India which came to do the commissioning of the installations?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, so there was there were 16 incinerators which were done under this project, as I mentioned, from its line of credit from India, and it was commissioned by a team.
Can I ask the Vice Prime Minister what is the cost of this project, which was funded by a line of credit from India, and who is going to pay for the repairs?
Means the contract was awarded to Canal Electrical for the sum of $2,256,000 USD. And now, as I've mentioned now, after we had problem with the incinerators, we contacted the original contractor, that is Canal Electrical. But unfortunately, we did not get any reply at all. So we are trying to do another bid locally to see if we can find somebody who can do the repairs on these incinerators.
Next question, MP Navamari.
B117.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Wastewater Management Authority that the region of Canal Dayut was earmarked for connection to the public sewer network under Phase 2 of the Pai Gibis Sewerage Project, which was awarded to contractor Sino Hydro Corporation, SCL Limited. However, the contract with Sino Hydro Corporation Limited was terminated due to the latter's poor performance under the contract. It was subsequently decided that the outstanding works under the above contract be carried out in a phased manner. In the first instance, priority was given to implementing projects so as to make beneficial use of the already constructed sewer infrastructure under the said contract. Thus, bids have been launched by the Wastewater Management Authority in respect of phases 3 and 4 of the project, and these cover the regions of Morcellement-le-Roc, Morcellement-Raffray, Les Guibis, Anse-Courtois, and Claude de Lettres. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the one hand, phase 3 of the project will consist of the construction of the remaining part of the trunk sewers, which is around 2.2 kilometers, and which is of prime importance as it will serve to connect the reticulation network and some 225 house connections. The works will also include construction of remaining sewer reticulation network, decommissioning of the 2 pumping stations, and 1 wastewater treatment plant, and CWA pipe replacement and connection works. This phase of the project will have a duration of 3 years. Following approval of the Central Procurement Board, bids were launched on the 24th November 2023 with closing date of 20th February 2024. The bids received are currently being evaluated at the Central Procurement Board. On the other hand, phase 4 of the project will comprise the design and construction of some 1,240 house connections in the regions of Morcellement-Raffray, Les Guibis, Anse-Courtois, and Claude de Lettres. This phase will have a duration of 2 years. Following approval of the Central Procurement Board, the invitation for bids was launched on 28 December 2023 with closing date of 19th February 2024. The bids for phase 4 are also under evaluation at the Central Procurement Board. Mr. Speaker, sir, since Sino-Hydro Corporation Limited has not yet carried out any sewer infrastructure works in the region of Canal d'Ayotte as at the end of its contract, the Wastewater Management Authority proposes to carry out wastewater works at Canal d'Ayotte in a subsequent phase. Connection of flows from the Canal d'Ayotte region will be possible only after construction of 4 river crossings across Saint-Louis River from Canal d'Ayotte region to the trunk sewer main. The project will also include laying of 1.1 kilometer of reticulation networks and connection of around 110 houses. It is expected that works at Canal d'Ayotte would be undertaken under phase 5 of the project, and procurement procedures could start as from early 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, as for Sable Noir region, this is considered to be a low-lying area near the coast. There is at present no wastewater project earmarked for this region. However, an integrated feasibility study could be undertaken in the future for the Sable Noir region and environs. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sur les 48 km de tuyaux à être installés, le ministre pourrait-il nous dire combien de kilomètres ont déjà été placés par la compagnie chinoise?
Let me find out, Mr. Speaker, sir. I've already replied to that in the past. Out of the 48 kilometers which were supposed to be laid, the contractor Sino-Hydro has laid some 17.7 kilometers, which represents some 37.3% of the work to be completed.
Le ministre pourrait-il nous dire si le coût de ce projet entre mai 2023 à ce jour, le coût du projet avait été annoncé à hauteur de 37 millions de roupies, si ce coût a enregistré une hausse, si oui, de combien et pour quelles raisons?
Je sais pas si l'honorable membre peut répéter, je n'ai pas trop compris. 37 millions de roupies?
Oui, entre mai 2023 à ce jour. Donc, est-ce que le ministre pourrait nous dire si le projet annoncé au départ à hauteur de 37 millions de roupies, si ce projet a connu une hausse, si oui, par combien et pour quelles raisons?
Je ne comprends pas trop. 37, c'est quel projet de 37 millions de roupies?
Le projet de tout à l'égout à Sable-Noir et Canal d'Aïeux. Non,
le projet de tout à l'égout à Canal d'Aïeux n'est pas de l'ordre de 37 millions de roupies, c'est beaucoup plus que ça. Si je ne me trompe pas, ce que j'avais annoncé au coût de 37 millions de roupies, c'était le permanent resurfacing that was allocated to the contractor Gamma Civic to complete works that were left over by contractor Sino Hydro.
So we move to the next question. Honorable Armand is absent. So MP Johanna Béranger.
B120.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the question pertains to Road B104, and I am informed by the RDA that there are currently no ongoing works along that road.
Il s'agissait de la route B103. Peut-être que le ministre peut quand même donner l'information. Est-ce qu'une étude IAI a été faite avant que les travaux soient entrepris sur cette route?
Ce sera avec plaisir, madame, mais, monsieur le président, la question a trait à B104, et si l'honorable vient avec une autre question qui a trait à B103, je me ferai un plaisir de le répondre. Merci. Tu pas qu'on pose question, sauvé.
What is happening now? When I am quiet, you people, you see unruly. What is happening in this house? I want you to be quiet also. So, the question was B120 from MP Johanna Béranger. Is that answered already, replied? Yes. So we move on to MP Fukyun Basha.
B121.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed.
Yes.
The Honorable Johanna Béranger said, Alfin te simik te fait bien toi. Is that acceptable in the Parliament, please?
No, this is MP Béranger. Please apologize for that. Please apologize for that. Yeah, good. So we move on to MP Fukyun Basha.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the London Authority has already identified a list of 20 flood-prone areas in constituency number 20, Beaubassin, Petite Rivière, specifically in the region of Petite Rivière, Gros Caillou, Albion, Coromandel, Chebel, Barkley, Montroche, and Beaubassin. To that effect, projects are being undertaken by the National Development Unit and the Drain Infrastructure Construction Limited to mitigate the flooding events in these regions. As at date, 6 projects have been completed, 7 projects are design stage, 1 project is at land acquisition stage, and 7 projects are at survey stage. With regard to part A of the question, following the recent floods caused by Bilal, the LDA has observed that Kinu Lane, Citronelle Avenue, and Lobin Lane, which are in the region of Petite Rivière, were inundated with approximately a flood mark level of 40 centimeters at Kinu Lane and Citronelle Avenue, and a flood level of 20 centimeters at Lobin Lane. This was due to the overflowing of natural and man-made streams which cross the built-up areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed that the Ministry of Local Government and Disaster Risk Reduction Management that damages were observed to road infrastructure necessitating upgrading and resurfacing works, and that 26 cases of house flooding were reported. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard to Part B of the question, with a view to mitigating flooding at Kinu Lane, Citronelle Avenue, and Lobin Lane, the LDA has proposed the following remedial measures. Firstly, immediate cleaning of the main RDA drain along B78 over a stretch of 500 meters, and secondly, as a long-term measure to increase the conveyance capacity of the streams and drains within the built-up areas in these localities. On the other hand, I'm further informed that the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Roselle has obtained financial clearance to proceed with the following works: reconstruction of roads in the region of Coromandel, patchwork and resurfacing work on roads wherever required, cleaning of drains in the region of Beaubassin, Montroche, Barclay, and Coromandel, and implementation of flood mitigation measures at Napier, Broome, Beaubassin. Thank you.
Avec le changement climatique et une pluviométrie plus intense, les données ont changé et les endroits inondables sont devenus plus nombreux. Est-ce que le ministre a l'intention de faire un flood risk assessment pour savoir quels chemins, quels bâtiments, maisons sont à risque d'inondation et de cartographier les drains existants de la circonscription numéro 20 pour permettre d'identifier les endroits où il y a un manque de drains ou les endroits qui nécessitent de nouveaux drains?
Ceci a déjà été fait, Monsieur le Président, et d'ailleurs, le Land Drainage Authority a déjà identifié 1700 drains à construire à travers le pays, et ceci est en cours. Et bien sûr, comme l'a si bien dit l'honorable membre, c'est une situation dynamique et on est en train de s'adapter as and when required. Merci.
Suite aux pluies de Bélal, l'honorable ministre a sans nul doute reçu plusieurs plaintes par rapport aux maisons inondées, que ce soit à travers la mairie, le district council et les CAB, autres que celui qu'il vient de mentionner. Et d'ailleurs, je suis moi-même en possession de différentes requêtes que je peux lui communiquer plus tard. Est-ce que le ministre peut donner un time frame, peut donner la garantie à ses habitants de la circonscription qu'avant la prochaine saison cyclonique, que tous ces problèmes en question seront résolus et que les habitants n'auront plus à craindre que leur maison soit une fois de plus inondée?
Mr. Speaker, sir, when dealing with flood, we need to understand that we are into mitigating. We are not into resolving. It's absolutely impossible to have a dry feed policy in case of flash flood and flooding. The LDA, the NDU, the RDA, the TMISU, the local government, the Ministry of Local Government, we are all working together to try to make our island as safe as possible. So giving a time frame, I don't think it's fair to ask.
B122.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since the launching of the National Gender Policy 2022-2030 in March 2022, my ministry is implementing all the recommendations mentioned therein. It is being implemented in a phase-wise manner, where the mechanism that put forth has been set up, namely, first of all, the National Steering Committee on Gender Mainstreaming, the Inter-Ministerial Gender Technical Working Group Committee, and dedicated gender cell in all ministries and departments, as well as at the level of local authorities. As a date, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have reached 48 gender cells across ministries and departments. Given that the national gender policy spans over a period of 8 years, My ministry is sustaining gender mainstreaming at public sector's level, including Rodrigues, and will thereafter extend across all the 4 sectors, that is the private sector, the media, the academia, and civil society organizations. Mr. Speaker, sir, a guideline will be used for the setting up of the gender technical working groups on gender mainstreaming in the 4 respective sectors I've just mentioned. These guidelines are presently at drafting stage, taking into consideration the dynamics of our society, of our societal setup, and the varying requirements of those 4 sectors I've mentioned. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. La ministre peut-elle indiquer à la Chambre la composition de chaque comité?
The composition is going to come when the paper, the terms of reference and the guidelines are finalized. That is when it is going to be put forward.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Pouvons-nous, obtenir de la ministre la liste des officiers de son ministère nommés dans chaque comité ainsi que leurs compétences respectives?
Merci. Yes, I can. For the 4 technical working groups, you mean? Can I just clarify whether the honourable member wanted the members of the 4 technical working groups? Is that the question? I'll very happily table it to the National Assembly Library.
The table had been advised that PQB 123, 134, 147, 149, 126, 127, 144, 155 have been withdrawn. Next question. MP Uchit.
B124.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to refer the honourable member to the replies I submitted in response to PQB 1225 and PQB 1315 for the sitting of 17 October and 24th October 2023, respectively, wherein I gave detailed information regarding the complexity of the project, resulting in delays encountered for the execution. With regard to Part A of the question, as I mentioned already in my previous reply, I'll give it again. I informed that on the 5th April 2022, the Road Development Authority awarded the contract for the upgrading of the Fropier Bridge at Canton Nancy, Pamplemousse to Gamma Civic. So it remained Gamma Civic till now. With respect to Part B of the question, I'm informed that the works started on the 12th April 2022 and were initially scheduled to be completed on the 4th November 2022. However, given the various difficulties faced during the execution of work, the completion date has had to be revised. Regarding the Part C of the question, as I already mentioned twice previously, the sum of the project, the contract value, is still 33.4 million, inclusive of VAT. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part D of the question, I'm informed by the RDA that the actual progress on site is around 55% and major off-site works, namely the preparation of forecast elements, have been completed. The project is now expected to be completed by the end of June 2024 with the restoration of traffic onto the new bridge. And I must put on record, Mr. Speaker, sir, I must say thank you to my colleagues, the PPS Ramcon and Honorable Minister Kalichan, for the precious help in helping the ministry, helping the RDA to solve all the issues that we have had on site, and thanks to them, we have greatly advanced in the project. Thank you.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House why there has been a noticeable absence of workers on site in the recent months and today itself, leading to significant delays and disruption of the road users?
No, Mr. Speaker, sir. That's not the case. In fact, there is very few people working on site because I said there are precast elements that are being prepared off-site. So one is done off-site, we'll come and place it on-site. So currently, yes, there's no work on site.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the work was supposed to be completed on 4th of November, according to the Minister, and it will end on end of June. So, are there any penalties or any consequences outlined in the contract with the contractor?
Delays does not mean automatically having penalties, etc., Mr. Speaker. So, as I said, it was a very difficult site. If the honourable member would have the question, he put himself to me on 17th October and 24th of October. I've explained that it was a difficult site, that we have had an old bridge that at some point in time we wanted to preserve, but saying that it would create additional problems around in the vicinity, to building in the vicinity, so we have decided to do away with the existing bridge. So we have had to secure what we have already on site, the building on site. So all these do take time, Mr. Speaker, sir. And of course we have had inclement weather, and that also does add up to the delay.
The table is advised that PQB 133, 145, 156 have been withdrawn. Time is over.
Motion.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Question seconded. The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Ayes have it.
Statements by ministers.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I wish to make a statement pursuant to the matter raised by the Honourable Second Member for Beaubassin and Petite Rivière on adjournment of the sitting of the House on 26th of March 2024 pertaining to alleged increase in thefts and other crimes in the region of Balfour, Beaubassin, and to the suggestion to have security cameras installed at the junction of Rue Trotter and Henri Lemaire. I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that since 2020 to 29th of March 2024, 6 cases have been reported to the police, that is 2 in 2020, 2 in 2021, and another 2 in 2022. No case has been reported in the year 2023 and for the period January 2024 to 29th of March 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed that for the installation of safe city cameras, the following factors are considered, namely 1. Crime-prone areas, 2. Accident-prone areas, 3. Strategic public areas in cities, towns, and villages, 4. Educational institutions, 5. Places of worship, and 6. Major roads where there are heavy traffic flows. A total of 68 safe city cameras have been installed and are operational in the Beaubassin region, including 11 in 5 sites along Trotter Avenue and its vicinity, Balfour. The 5 sites are 1. Junction Renard Street and Trotter Street, there are 2 cameras. 2. Balfour Avenue in front of Balfour Garden Gate, there are 3 cameras. 3. Royal Road, Beaubassin near Tangway, 2 cameras. 4. Junction Gaëtan Rénal and Shan Streets, 2 cameras. 5. Boulevard Cohen and Queen Alexandra Streets near Mosque, 2 cameras. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am further informed that, nevertheless, the police has taken additional measures to reinforce security in the Beaubassin region through patrols. Moreover, in the context of Ramadan, special policing arrangements have been made in the vicinity of mosques across the island for the security of those attending prayers as well as for the other road users. Thank you.
Honorable Dano.
With your permission, I shall make a statement following matters raised by Honorable Mrs. Navarre-Marie at adjournment time at the sitting of the 26th of March 2024 regarding alleged cases of thefts and aggression occurring within the vicinity of the Saint-Louis station. The Honorable Member said the following. En effet, cette station est devenue un véritable repère de voleurs et ceux qui utilisent ce service de jour comme de nuit sont souvent agressés et dépouillés de leurs biens. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that according to information provided by the Metro Express Limited, it has not received any report of theft at the metro station of Saint-Louis. As part of the security measures already in place, the Saint-Louis metro station is already equipped with cameras and a video surveillance system, as well as an emergency call system, which can be activated by any passenger by pressing a button to alert the Operation Control Center of Metro Express Limited, for instance, in case of any emergency or dangerous occurrence. According to information provided to me, there was an alleged case of theft which occurred far outside the station on a footpath located at the end of a municipal road and next to a residential area. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to further enhancing security within the above locus, my ministry has requested the Commissioner of Police to deploy police officers at the Saint-Louis metro station, especially during off-peak hours, as a deterrent measure against potential defaulters. The police has in addition been requested to reinforce patrols within the precincts of the station, including at the staircase that leads to the Pie Road, so as to make the locus safer for passengers and residents. Sir, I am further informed that the Metro Express Limited, along with other relevant authorities, would continue investing in the surroundings for the betterment of neighborhood and for community development. To this end, a full embellishment of the vicinity has been implemented, including the landscaping thereof, mural painting, and provision of additional lighting at the said locus and the periphery. Works for the creation of a new drop-off area along Pie Branch Road have also started with a view to further unlocking the area. Sir, we should not lose sight also that the Metro Express project has generated several benefits within the area of Saint-Louis-Canchaplon by providing a modern, rapid and affordable mode of commute for the public and the residents. The area will continue to be upgraded with additional projects which are being or would be implemented by different organizations with the support of government. I thank you for your attention.
Sir, with your permission, I wish to apprise the House of the pivotal developments stemming from the 8th meeting of Ministers of Health of Small Island Developing States, SIDS, within the African region of the WHO, convened in Victoria, Seychelles, from 25th to 27th March 2024. Acknowledging the shared health challenges faced by SIDS, the WHO Regional Office for Africa endorsed the establishment of a regional SIDS forum uniting Cape Verde, Comoros, Mauritius, Sao Tome and Principe, and Seychelles. This forum stands as a beacon for SIDS to confront health vulnerabilities, head-on fostering resilience and sustainability. Since its inception in Seychelles in 2006, SIDS health ministers have committed to biennial gatherings to exchange insights and monitor progress in health development. Invitations were extended to Madagascar and Guinea-Bissau to join the SIDS network with a specific focus on pool procurement. The participants pledged to collaborate to strengthen national measures for pandemic prevention, preparedness and response, and endorse common positions on proposed international agreements and regulations, notably the new pandemic treaty and international health regulations. Furthermore, we remain committed to exploring all avenues to access available funding mechanisms to address the health impacts of climate change. Mr. Speaker, sir, two countries expressed keen interest in hosting the SIDS Pool Procurement Secretariat, namely Mauritius and Cape Verde. The deliberation was based on the evaluation mission reports, whereby Mauritius had secured a score of 39 out of a possible 40 points, representing an outstanding 97.5%. After meticulous consideration amidst commendable candidacy from both Cape Verde and Mauritius, a closed voting system ensured, culminating in Mauritius securing victory with 4 votes against Cape Verde's 3. Consequently, consensus was reached to designate Mauritius as the host for the Secretariat and trusted with spearheading the operationalization of the seeds pool procurement initiative. This pivotal responsibility bears testament to our dedication to facilitating increased access to affordable, quality-assured and safe medicine and medical supplies across seeds. The establishment of the Secretariat will harmonize medicine management systems, elevate supplier performance, and alleviate procurement burdens. Moreover, it lays the groundwork for guiding principles and a robust governance structure comprising a Secretariat and technical committees. I express profound gratitude to Cape Verde, Seychelles, Comoros, Sao Tome and Principe, Guinea-Bissau, and to Madagascar for having endorsed this decision. I further reaffirm our unwavering commitment to fulfilling this duty with utmost diligence for the collective welfare of all nations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister Amiad.
With your permission, Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to make a statement on the additional government support being extended to export-oriented textile and clothing enterprises in the face of unprecedented challenges that are impacting on their export performance. I wish to emphasize that the export-oriented textile and clothing sector remains a backbone of the manufacturing industry in view of its significant contribution to employment, foreign exchange earnings, and gross value added. The importance of the textile and clothing sector was highly valued during the COVID-19 pandemic through its versatility to shift to production of essential products to ensure health and safety of the population. At the same time, it was among the very few economic activities to generate substantial foreign exchange earnings for the country during the lockdown periods. It should be reckoned that the sector is currently evolving in a highly volatile business environment, characterized by rising production costs, severe competition from low-cost producing countries, geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and lack of visibility regarding renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act. The compounding effects of these pronounced challenges are already being witnessed by export-oriented textile and clothing enterprises, as evidenced by a contraction in their exports by 16.6% for the year 2023 as compared to 2022. I wish to underline that such a distressing situation prevailed in 2020, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, where export plummeted by more than 15% when compared to 2019. However, government took bold actions to reverse the deteriorating trend, and this resulted in an export growth of 8.7% in 2021 and 8% in 2022. The textile and clothing sector is again at a crossroad whereby it has to overcome daunting challenges arising from shortage of skilled labor, increase in industrial electricity tariffs, lower level of technology uptake, and constraints to embrace sustainable practices with the overall objective to maintain competitiveness and remain in business. Feedback obtained by my ministry from textile operators tend to indicate that these restrictive factors are likely to persist in the near future, thereby putting additional pressure on their smooth manufacturing operations. I wish to stress that government has been proactive in taking remedial measures to address these impediments, as evidenced by more streamlined work permit policies, establishment of an energy efficiency audit scheme, and implementation of a manufacturing 4.0 initiative, amongst others for the manufacturing sector. Furthermore, dedicated schemes such as the Trade Promotion and Marketing Scheme and Freight Rebate Scheme are already in place to accompany operators in their export drive. I wish to highlight that a total amount of more than 1.6 billion has been disbursed since 2015 under these programs. On another note, it is acknowledged that the increase in national minimum wage and salary compensation in 2024 have put enormous pressure on the cash flow of export-oriented enterprises, impacting on their overall competitiveness. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have already underscored that the export-oriented textile and clothing enterprises are facing a more precarious situation, and they need to be fully supported to navigate through the ongoing turbulences. The Mauritius Export Association, MEXA, is also on the same wavelength and has urged for more targeted assistance towards this category of enterprises. In this perspective, government is going the extra mile by providing an additional monthly financial assistance of 1,500 rupees and 1,000 rupees per full-time employee to cater respectively for the payment of the national minimum wage and the 2023 salary compensation to these companies for the period April to June 2024. May I end by mentioning that this government has at heart the sustained development of the textile and clothing sector and will leave no stones unturned to ensure its long-term viability for greater economic prosperity. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
First reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Environment Bill be read the first time.
Public Bill, second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, today is a very special day, and to intervene on such an important bill, it is really special, as on the 2nd April 2008, the United Nations General Assembly declared the 2nd April as the World Autism Awareness Day to draw attention to the growing need for innovative programs designed to support those with autism. And today, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are talking about the protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities. And I would like to congratulate the Minister, Honorable Fazila Jiwa, under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Pravin Kumar Jagnat, for bringing this piece of legislation to the House. Mr. Speaker, sir, according to the United Nations, at least 1.3 billion people, or we can say 16% of the world's population, experience some form of disability. In general, persons with disabilities often experience adverse socio-economic outcomes, and such as a lack of employment and education opportunities, lower wages, and the increased cost of living that often come with a disability. In developing states, Mr. Speaker, sir, poverty itself can increase rates of disability through malnutrition, unsafe working conditions, inadequate access to health care, a polluted environment, and a lack of access to safe water and sanitation. Upholding the rights of people with disabilities is not only a moral imperative, it is a practical necessity if humankind is to overcome the many existential challenges it faces. Achieving the sustainable development goal will require everyone's active participation in developing and implementing innovative solutions. We cannot afford to leave 15% of the population out of the equation. And Mr. Speaker, sir, as rightly pointed out by the Minister, in Mauritius, as we have 84,500 person representing 6.8 of the total population, out of which 34,273 suffer from a disability of 60% and derive a basic invalidity pension. And Mr. Speaker, sir, these persons with disabilities must be supported in fulfilling their intellectual and creative potential. Apart with everyone else in society, we can all work together to build an inclusive society, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people everywhere enjoy peace and prosperity. Mauritius, as a signatory to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and the Agenda 2030, Mauritius will go through a transformative journey and work across sectors by mainstreaming the principle of disability inclusion with its policy and implementation framework. Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill is a stepping stone on our transformative journey. The purpose of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities is to promote, protect, and ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms by all persons with disabilities, and to promote respect for their inherent dignity. The 2030 Agenda commits, in the same spirit as the CRPD, to empower those at risk of vulnerability and including persons with disabilities. It also promotes universal respect for human rights, equality, and non-discrimination. Speaking of the bill, this bill is giving the enabling framework for a national disability empowerment authority with its own set of roles, objectives, and powers. It is a one-stop shop regrouping all the previous institutions, and through this bill, making it more accessible. The 2030 Agenda commits in the same spirit that we shall promote universal respect for human rights, equality, and non-discrimination. Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with the section of 28 of the Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities of Act 2006, the Charter, this bill is compatible to the Charter of Human Rights. Mainstreaming a human rights-based approach to disability in combination with targeted measures will make the concern and experience of persons with disabilities an integral dimension of the implementation and evaluation of policies. This legislation is bringing about in all political, economic, and societal spheres so that persons with disabilities benefit equally. The ultimate goal is to achieve equality of outcomes and foster an inclusive culture within our Mauritian nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, what is the vision of our government and our Prime Minister? Is to build an inclusive Mauritius for all Mauritians. Our government came up with measures to always help the less fortunate and who need a special care. I can name many that we have done, Mr. Speaker, sir. The introduction of the minimum salary, which is now 18,500. We waive the age criteria for children who are less than 15 years to benefit from a basic invalidity pension of 13,500 right now, Mr. Speaker, sir. The alignment of all pension including the basic invalidity pension and the basic retirement pension, like I said, to date at 13,500, Mr. Speaker, sir. Introduction, full cost of cancer care and treatment in local private hospital and foreign hospital for children diagnosed with cancer. Children from 0 to 3 years, an allowance of 2,000 rupees monthly. A prima l'emploi scheme up to 15,000 with the objective to bring in women and persons with disabilities in employment. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me seize the opportunity to thank the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance for bringing these social measures and to make this a reality. Today, I feel proud to be part of a government who has at heart the development of its people. When we think about a child with a disability, for example, Mr. Speaker, sir, if you think of a child with a trisomy syndrome, someone can look at it differently. But for me, it's a child with an extra chromosome, an extra smile, and a special human being. I do not think, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this bill should divide the House. We shall be on the same line to protect and promote the rights of persons with disabilities. I've been listening to the arguments of members of the opposition, from the leader of the opposition to other members of the opposite side of the House, but I can't see any argument against this bill. But I think we should be on the same line. We should have a dream that tomorrow, as rightly said by Honorable Francisco Francois, why not tomorrow a constitutional law amendment on election for a fair representation of persons with disabilities through reservation of 1 or 2 seats for persons with disabilities in our parliament. The vision of our Prime Minister and this government, Mr. Speaker, sir, is inclusiveness, and we have already embarked on the inclusive Mauritius. Whether when making a new sport project, like we have recently inaugurated one in Malaya, Muga, where it is accessible for people on a wheelchair and they can also exercise. There's special equipment for them. For instance, the new Hotel de Ville at QPIP. When I was preparing for this bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, when the former minister, Honorable Sheila Bapu, presented the training employment TWFB, she mentioned in her closing remarks that she was surprised and when she went to l'Hôtel de Ville de Kepip for a centenarian birth anniversary, and that the person had to go, she was in a wheelchair and people had to carry her. But today, Mr. Speaker, sir, at the new Hôtel de Ville, there is accessibility through a lift. And what we want to bring, Mr. Speaker, sir, we not need to bring the law, we need to educate our people. We need to tell them whether you're bringing, for example, if you go to Tribeca, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is accessibility for people with disability. You will see, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this is becoming a new norm among the people that are new construction industry. And Mr. Speaker, sir, it's important. For example, I had the opportunity with my colleague, the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Obigadi. We went for site visit for new housing development that is being done, for example, at Wooton. We can see that when we went there for site visit, before first question we asked the people that were constructing the houses, the builders and contractors, that whether provision is being made for people with disability. And we can say, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is being done, and construction, when it's being made in this new housing development, you can see that people can access, even with a flat structure, in the house to go to the bathroom, to the toilet, to the kitchen. There is this specificity is being taken care. Whether for the new metro station, Mr. Speaker said, this is also being taken care of. Whether it's a new market at Goodlands, Mr. Speaker, sir, the contractors have taken this at heart. And to take this, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are leading by example, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we will continue in our effort to build a new and modern Mauritius. And Mr. Speaker, sir, when we talk about inclusiveness, if you ask PPS of constituency number 6 and 17, other opportunity to go at Dugacharan school there, where we can see people, the students with disability studying with students who are normal. And I think this will be the new norm, Mr. Speaker, sir. If we want, we will need. I will make a proposal to the minister. We will need to, we say, educate and create awareness and to how to treat people with disability. Even why not crash course for our members of parliament also? Because we need to have, we say, an awareness, and people need to see how we have to behave and to treat people with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, our government is going in the right direction. What has been the argument of the opposition is that we have taken so long to come with the bill. But when I was reading the bill, the previous one, and the policy papers that was presented by the previous government, they have taken 16 years to make amendments. Just to tell you that it is a very tedious work, and to create this inclusiveness, Mauritius, we all have to be on the same line. I don't think this is a bill that we have to argue or to make demagogy. But Mr. Speaker, sir, let me end on the quote of Robert Hansel. Let me give you who is Robert Michael Hansel. He was born with a birth defect known as spina bifida. He is also a Guinness World Records holder for the longest non-stop wheelie in a wheelchair, covering a total distance of 6.178 miles. As part of setting his record, he raised the money for wheelchair ramps throughout Oswego in New York, his hometown. Let me end on his quote, I open quote, Mr. Speaker, sir. There is no greater disability in a society than the inability to see a person as more. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
And now call Dr. the Honorable Chakori. No, it's Honorable David.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le leader de l'opposition l'a dit au début de son intervention mardi dernier. Sur ce sujet de la protection et la promotion des droits des personnes handicapées, l'opposition parlementaire ne compte pas le surpolitiser. Mais évidemment, exprimer son point de vue, ses critiques et ses suggestions dans le seul but de mettre au premier plan les personnes qui vivent avec un handicap dans notre pays. Et le leader de l'opposition l'a précisé, nous souhaitons être la voix de celles et ceux qui ne peuvent pas se faire entendre. Et qu'en est-il, Monsieur le Président, de celles et ceux qui ne peuvent pas entendre? Puis-je commencer par proposer à Madame la Ministre que ces débats sur ce Protection and Promotion of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill soient retransmis sur la chaîne télévisée parlementaire en langage des signes, même en différé, car j'ai noté qu'il existe certaines contraintes techniques pour une transmission en temps réel, mais même en version enregistrée et différée, une telle démarche permettrait un accès à l'information et la participation active et inclusive des 4500 personnes sourdes et malentendantes de notre République. Et à ces 4500 personnes se rajoutent, selon le Population Census de 2022, 80 autres 1000 compatriotes qui vivent avec d'autres formes de handicap, soit un total, et l'honorable Denou l'a rappelé, de 84 500 personnes handicapées contre 60 000 en 2011, soit une progression de 40% en seulement 11 ans. Face à ce nombre grandissant, quelle doit être l'approche de cette société dans laquelle nous vivons tous et qui doit être inclusive de notre diversité, non pas seulement ethnique, culturelles ou religieuses, mais également la diversité des besoins, des situations et des capacités. Et c'est précisément, Monsieur le Président, la réponse apportée en 2006 par la Convention des Nations Unies relative aux droits des personnes handicapées, qui est venue célébrer la diversité et la dignité humaine, en ayant pour objet, et je cite l'article 1er de cette Convention, de promouvoir, protéger et assurer la pleine et égale jouissance de tous les droits de l'homme et de toutes les libertés fondamentales par les personnes handicapées et de promouvoir le respect de leur dignité intrinsèque. Fin de citation. Et ce même premier article de la Convention des Nations Unies donne une définition des personnes handicapées que je cite dans sa version anglaise pour mieux la comparer à la définition du projet de loi dont nous débattons. La Convention précise, je cite, « Persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairments which, in interaction with various barriers, may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. » Fin de citation. Alors que le Bill actuel a choisi de définir à la clause 2 du projet de loi, person with disability means a person who has one or more disabilities, et plus haut, dans la même clause, disability means a long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairment of a person which substantially hinders his ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. Voyez-vous, Monsieur le Président, la nuance peut paraître subtile, voire invisible, mais elle est fondamentale car elle traduit l'esprit même de la loi. Et je déplore que le projet de loi que nous présente Madame la Ministre a choisi d'éliminer dans ses définitions les notions d'interaction, de barrières et d'obstacles. Alors je veux ici parler, en référence à l'article 1er de la Convention des Nations Unies, de l'interaction du handicap avec les diverses barrières qui peuvent faire obstacle à la pleine et effective participation des personnes handicapées à la société sur la base de l'égalité avec les autres. Et je me pose la question, et je la soulève ici dans notre hémicycle, face à ce projet de loi dont nous débattons, 14 ans après avoir ratifié la Convention des Nations Unies relative aux droits des personnes handicapées, avons-nous réellement compris que le handicap n'est pas une situation inhérente à une personne, mais d'abord et surtout la conjugaison de l'état d'une personne et de son environnement, qui ensemble génèrent le handicap et nuisent à la participation de cette personne à la vie de la société. Pour illustrer plus concrètement ce propos, être dans un fauteuil roulant, ce qui renvoie à un facteur personnel, et vivre dans une ville ou un village où les infrastructures sont accessibles, on parle ici d'un facteur environnemental, permet alors de participer à la vie de la collectivité dans les mêmes conditions que n'importe qui d'autre. Il n'y a alors pas ou peu de handicap. Être malentendant et regarder les débats parlementaires en langage des signes redonne le droit fondamental à l'information à cette partie de la population. Et je me dois de rappeler ici que l'une des 3 réserves émises par l'île Maurice lors de la ratification de la Convention des Nations Unies en 2010 concernait l'article 9 de la Convention, au paragraphe 2D, qui consiste à faire mettre en place dans les bâtiments et autres installations ouvertes au public une signalisation en braille et sous des formes faciles à lire et à comprendre. Comment se fait-il que 14 ans après, un projet de loi portant sur la protection et la promotion des droits des personnes handicapées ne soit toujours pas en mesure de lever une telle réserve, car je n'ai vu aucune mention ou indication dans ce sens dans le projet de loi. Monsieur le Président, ces facteurs environnementaux, qui sont des obstacles auxquels les personnes handicapées font face quotidiennement sont définis par l'Organisation mondiale de la santé comme, je cite, des facteurs qui, par leur absence ou leur présence, limitent la fonctionnalité et créent un handicap, par exemple l'absence de technologies d'assistance, le manque d'accès à des environnements physiques et aux technologies d'assistance appropriées et les comportements négatifs vis-à-vis du handicap. Fin de citation. Et je dois justement rajouter que ces obstacles ne sont pas toujours physiques ou technologiques, car selon de nombreuses recherches sur le handicap, l'obstacle le plus difficile à surmonter, ce sont les stéréotypes, les préjugés et les mentalités. Alors évidemment, faire évoluer les mentalités et changer le regard de la société sur les personnes en situation de handicap, c'est un travail colossal et collectif. Et je tiens ici, Monsieur le Président, à saluer l'engagement, le dévouement et la détermination de toutes ces associations et ONG mauriciennes qui se battent jour après jour pour protéger et valoriser les personnes en situation de handicap en mettant en avant leurs capacités au lieu de leurs limites. Et évidemment, nous, en tant que législateurs, il est de notre devoir de poser le contexte légal pour favoriser l'inclusion, faciliter l'éducation, développer l'innovation et anéantir la discrimination face au handicap, y compris lorsque la discrimination prend la forme de certains termes discriminants au sein même de nos lois. Je propose par exemple, Monsieur le Président, que ce projet de loi vienne modifier le National Pensions Act pour supprimer le terme invalid et ainsi remplacer le Invalids Basic Pension par le Disability Basic Pension. Simplement pour supprimer ce terme et cette notion d'invalidité au sein de notre population qui vivent avec une forme de handicap. Monsieur le Président, il nous faut changer la perception même que notre société se fait trop souvent du handicap, que ce soit par ignorance, par peur et dans certains cas extrêmes, par haine. Les personnes en situation de handicap ne doivent pas être considérées comme moins capables ou traitées comme des victimes souffrant de leur déficience, mais plutôt comme des individus ayant des droits, des capacités et des talents. Et pas seulement dans les domaines du sport ou de la musique, où nos athlètes paralympiques et nos artistes font déjà notre fierté nationale, mais aussi dans le secteur professionnel. Et évidemment, la politique ne doit pas échapper à cette règle. N'avons-nous pas eu un immense leader politique qui a dirigé notre pays alors qu'il ne voyait que d'un seul œil des suites d'un accident? Ce handicap n'a jamais amoindri la vision que Sir Siousagar Ramgoolam a nourrie tout au long de son combat jusqu'à devenir le père de la nation mauricienne. Et que dire de Franklin Roosevelt, qui a été le premier président américain handicapé physique à accéder à la Maison-Blanche? À quand, Monsieur le Président, le premier membre de notre Assemblée nationale en fauteuil roulant? Faudra-t-il encore que les espaces de notre Parlement, et notamment l'hémicycle, soient accessibles aux personnes à mobilité réduite? Évidemment, les barrières à l'engagement politique pour toutes les personnes handicapées doivent être brisées. Mais pour revenir à l'insertion professionnelle, je dois dire que je regrette que le projet de loi qui est censé protéger et promouvoir le droit des personnes handicapées ait au départ fait l'impasse sur les quotas des travailleurs handicapés dans le milieu de l'entreprise. C'est finalement au stade des amendements du committee stage à venir que les quotas seront réintroduits, pour ne pas dire amoindris, car contrairement à l'obligation des 3% d'emploi de travailleurs handicapés pour les entreprises à partir de 35 salariés, qui figurait dans le Training and Employment of Disabled Persons Act de 1996, texte qui d'ailleurs se retrouve abrogé par la nouvelle loi, désormais ce sera 3% seulement pour les grandes entreprises qui emploient plus de 200 employés. Et pour les plus petites entreprises, l'obligation ne concernera plus que celles qui emploient au minimum 50 salariés en imposant 1 ou 2 personnes seulement jusqu'à 200 employés. Le gouvernement du jour vient donc avec une nouvelle loi qui fait moins bien que l'ancienne loi lorsqu'il s'agit de l'insertion professionnelle des personnes en situation de handicap. Monsieur le Président, le dernier point que je souhaiterais aborder avant de conclure concerne la garantie constitutionnelle des droits des personnes handicapées. Et cela me ramène à presque 4 ans de cela. C'était le 28 juillet 2020, lors de ma question parlementaire B406 sur l'introduction du Disability Bill. Madame la ministre, l'honorable Jiwa Doriaou, m'avait alors répondu que l'un des freins était la probable nécessité de modifier les sections 3 et 16 de la Constitution de notre pays pour que les droits fondamentaux des personnes handicapées soient entièrement respectés. Et à mon grand étonnement, je constate aujourd'hui que le projet de loi ne fait aucune mention quelconque ou à venir à un amendement constitutionnel. Mais plus étonnamment encore, hier soir, lors d'une émission sur une radio privée consacrée aux provisions de ce projet de loi, émission à laquelle a d'ailleurs participé Madame la ministre, juste après son intervention, son prédécesseur, l'ancien ministre de la Sécurité sociale, M. Étienne Sinatambou, est venu affirmer qu'il avait déjà déposé des amendements constitutionnels au Conseil des ministres avant les élections générales de 2019, afin de garantir le droit des personnes handicapées au sein de notre Constitution. J'aimerais donc demander à Madame la ministre ce qu'il en est de cette question constitutionnelle, alors qu'il existait visiblement un document déjà préparé par son ancien collègue. 5 ans que des amendements constitutionnels ont donc été a priori envoyés au Conseil des ministres, 9 ans que nous attendons un Disability Bill, et finalement un projet de loi qui nous est présenté à quelques semaines de la dissolution du Parlement, avec un texte qui ne lève aucune des 3 réserves de la Convention des Nations Unies, et qui nous laisse donc avec une impression, si j'ose dire, de trop peu, trop tard. Le chantier de l'inclusion des personnes en situation de handicap est encore vaste, et le prochain gouvernement, qui commencera sa nouvelle mandature bientôt, aura à améliorer les dispositions de la présente loi, à étoffer ses provisions, à mettre en place un plan d'action concret à l'image du Action Plan on Disability de 2007, nourri par les convictions et l'innovation, et faire de sorte que notre pays soit à la hauteur de cet immense enjeu d'égalité et d'accessibilité pour tous. Car ce que nous voulons, Monsieur le Président, c'est une société qui s'adapte aux personnes en situation de handicap et non l'inverse. J'en ai terminé.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to lend today my unreserved support to the protection and promotion of the rights of people, of persons with disabilities, Bill number 23 of 2023. This transformative and far-reaching legislation represents a watershed moment in our nation's journey towards building a truly inclusive, equitable, and rights-based society. I would like to expand further on why this truly history-making bill represents the crowning moment thus far in our country's winding journey to become a beacon of inclusiveness, equal opportunity, and participatory democracy for all. For too long, the differently able members of our society, though undoubtedly possessing the same inner radiance and potential, have been relegated to the shadows. Their needs and aspirations consigned by societal indifference to the margins. Mr. Speaker, sir, generation after generation, persons with disabilities have suffered the corrosive wounds of prejudice, neglect, and invisibility, unable to access the level playing field that would allow their talents to blossom and transform not only their own destinies, but the collective advancement of our nation. Silence voices longing to soar, but with wings clipped by physical, social, and systemic barriers. An inspired national poet with no means to put pen to paper. A budding entrepreneur denied capital to launch her dreams. A gifted athlete never given supporting equipment adapted to his physiology. The lost promise has been heartbreaking. The waste of human capital, tragic beyond measure. But today, Mr. Speaker, sir, we flip the script decisively through this landmark bill. We bring the differently able in from the margins to the mainstream, empowering them to take their rightful place as authors of national development across every sphere of our progressing society. Mr. Speaker, sir, the bill's comprehensive scope fundamentally reorients structural and social mindsets that have long normalized the exclusion of so many. Its robust creation of oversight, advocacy, and grievance redressal bodies promise to keep us continuously accountable in upholding and enabling environment for equal opportunity. Make no mistake, this bill is as much a soaring statement of our own maturation as a democracy, as it is the crowning achievement thus far of the organized disability rights movement in Mauritius that dates back over 6 decades. It affirms that we can legislate systemic changes in public attitudes, dismantle barriers to access, and guarantee a spectrum of civil liberties regardless of physical or mental attributes. This is the alchemy of visionary, rights-based lawmaking. It redeems the promise of our highest ideals enshrined in our Constitution, that all our citizens, without exception, can aspire to and attain their highest human potential. This law gives us the blueprint to build national environments that unleash the full promise of human diversity across physical, cognitive, and psychological gamut. Mr. Speaker, sir, educational institutions lacking ramps and assistive technologies prevented differently able students from developing their capabilities and talents at formative stages. Public transport devoid of accommodations for limited mobility or sensory disabilities further immobilize people yearning to access livelihood and community life. Workplaces lacking inclusivity policies meant immense talent got left untapped on account of societal prejudices regarding physical or mental attributes. This legislation mandates structural changes across all of society's building blocks: education, health, employment, rehabilitation, and more. It creates accountability for public and private institutions to make reasonable accommodations, provide assistive devices, and design inclusive policies that dismantle barriers to participation. This legislation also provides resources and channels for the differently able to seek timely redress upon facing discrimination. It creates special mechanisms to protect the uniquely vulnerable, differently able women and children from potential exploitation and abuse. In scope, force, and accountability mechanism, this framework hence represents an unprecedented charter of fundamental freedoms and public safeguards for the full inclusion of persons with disabilities as equal members of society. Mr. Speaker, sir, I cannot emphasize enough why this call for unanimous applause in this House and swift implementation nationwide. I sincerely believe that this is undeniably one of the most progressive pieces of human rights legislation ever tabled on these floors. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to dwell on why this bill powerfully reaffirms our nation's commitment to upholding international human rights covenants centered on the differently abled. Too frequently, we sign laudable global accords to affirm lofty principles, but procrastinate to codify these into actionable domestic laws with punitive teeth. This bill single-handedly remedies our shortcoming in domesticating and enforcing one such pivotal human rights covenants, the UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Ratifying the convention was the easy gesture. Putting in place institutions, standards, and accountability system to abide by its letter and spirit is what is needed, and this is what we are pioneering. This bill sophisticatedly bridges that implementation gap by translating the convention's exacting clauses into legally enforceable mechanism designed to create discrimination-free as well as barrier-free environments for the differently abled. Its central authority and special investigative bodies have a clear mandate to sniff out threats to equal rights and dignified living for the differently able wherever they may emerge. Be they inaccessible infrastructure, discriminatory employers, or violence and abuse against uniquely vulnerable segments like differently able women. What makes this bill even more groundbreaking is its universal scope, spanning both public and private sector obligations across every domain, from reasonable workplace accommodation to ensuring educational inclusion. It establishes clear reciprocal arrangements between rights bearers and duty holders, so all stakeholders comprehend expectations vis-à-vis enabling environments for the differently abled. In no uncertain terms, Mr. Speaker, sir, this bill puts our nation at the vanguard globally for implementing the empowering vision of human diversity and capability enshrined in the UN Disability Rights Convention. Our live example can inspire other developing countries, peers, to similarly legislate robust frameworks, upholding the social contract to make rights real in the lives of the differently abled. It renews our national commitment to stay at the cutting edge of rights-based lawmaking. At its core, Mr. Speaker, sir, this people-centric legislation establishes various structures and mechanisms to make rights real in the everyday lives of differently able persons. The National Disability Authority will drive coordination, monitoring, auditing, and advocacy around disability policies and schemes across all arms of government. The Protection and Promotion Unit will have expansive investigative and enforcement powers to tackle discrimination or abuse. And the panoply of entitlements and safeguards it enumerates on issues from education to disaster response will empower persons with disabilities to seek redress and justice within clear procedural framework when needed. I am particularly heartened that this bill mainstreams employment for differently able persons through progressive corporate responsibility provisions, while also laying out attractive fiscal incentives for absorbing more diverse talents. Together with its emphasis on skill development and assistive technologies, it sends an unequivocal message that we believe in the immense potential of our differently able citizens. We will invest in creating environments for them to unleash their promise as active economic and social participants. In closing, the former Vice President of the USA, Humphrey, spoke about the treatment of the weakest members of society as a reflection of a government. I quote, "The moral test of a government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, our government, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnath, is translating those words of wisdom into action by taking care of those who need us the most. We reaffirm our tryst to uplift and mainline the vulnerable, further engraving into our laws the humanism espoused by our past stalwart leadership. Doing so will not only be a testimony of our collective pledge to broadening participation for all towards reaching developed country status, but to also redeem national soul, fuel next generation aspirations, and build national environments where the flame of human potential, creativity, and self-determination burns bright regardless of all endowment of a random lottery of life. Last but not least, I wish to congratulate the Minister of Social Integration, Social Security, and National Solidarity, Honorable Fazila Jiwa Doriaou, GCSK, for bringing to the House such an important piece of legislation. I thank you for your attention.
Honourable members, I have an announcement to make. I have to inform the House that on 15 March 2024, Honourable Shakil Mohammed gave notice of a motion of disallowance requiring the Assembly to resolve that Government Notice 28 and 29 of 2024 be disallowed. I have perused the said notice and I have to inform the House that the said regulations were published in the Government Gazette of 17 February 2024 at a time when the Assembly stood adjourned. Regulations 28 and 29 have been laid on the table of the Assembly at the sitting of Tuesday last. Having regard the provisions of Section 23 of the Interpretation and General Clauses Act, it is clear that Honorable Shakil Mohammed gave notice of the motion of disallowance in anticipation. In the circumstances, the present notice cannot be considered. I thank you for your attention. I suspend the sitting for 45 minutes.